You don't do this because you like thinking. You do it because something in you never learned how to feel safe. I know. That's uncomfortable to hear. You're probably already reacting. Part of you wants to argue. Part of you feels seen in a way you didn't ask for. You're listening right now, quiet, maybe late, maybe the room is dark, and your mind is still loud. It's always loud when things finally slow down, when there's nothing left to distract you. No messages, no noise, just you. And that constant scanning. What did I miss? What did I say wrong? What's going to happen next? What if I'm not ready? What if I never am? You don't sit down and decide to do this. It just starts. Like a reflex, like your mind reaches for something sharp and familiar. You replay moments that already ended, not because you enjoy the pain, but because your system believes there's something important hidden there. Some clue you didn't catch the first time. You imagine conversations that haven't happened yet. You rehearse every possible outcome, every version of disappointment, every tone, every pause, every look. Not because you're dramatic, but because uncertainty feels dangerous. That's the part people miss. This isn't a habit. It's protection. Somewhere along the way, your nervous system learned that being unprepared hurts more than being exhausted, that thinking ahead was safer than being surprised. That vigilance kept you standing. So now your mind never fully rests. Even when your body is still, even when the world is quiet, you feel tired in a way sleep doesn't touch. Not a physical tired. A deep one. Like something inside you has been holding its breath for years. You don't trust calm. When things are quiet, you wait for impact. When things are good, you brace for the shift. Because before, calm didn't last. Before, silence meant something was wrong. Before, you learned that peace was temporary. So you watch. You analyze. You prepare. Not consciously, automatically. And maybe you've tried to stop. You've told yourself to relax, to let go, to think positive. But it never works for long. Because the part of you doing this doesn't speak logic. It speaks memory. It remembers moments your words can't reach. Moments when you didn't have control, when things changed suddenly, when emotions were unpredictable, when love came with conditions, when safety depended on reading the room perfectly. So now you read everything. Tone, timing, silence. You notice things others miss. Micro shifts, energy changes, unspoken meanings. It's not because you're obsessed. It's because you learned early that awareness mattered. You learned that being caught off guard hurt. That asking for reassurance didn't always help. That trusting too easily came with consequences, so your mind became fast. Sharp, always moving at night, it gets louder. Because night feels like vulnerability. Because you're no longer busy proving you're fine. The thoughts don't come as full sentences. They come as fragments. Images, what ifs, half-formed fears. Your chest tightens for no clear reason. Your stomach feels heavy. You stare at the ceiling, negotiating with yourself. Just stop thinking. Please stop. But stopping feels like letting your guard down, and that feels unsafe. So you think more, you loop, you dig. You try to find certainty in a world that never gave you enough. Sometimes you wonder what's wrong with you. Why others seem so calm. Why they can let things go, why they don't replay every detail. You assume it's a flaw, a weakness, something you need to fix. But what if it started as strength? What if it was intelligence mixed with survival? What if your mind adapted to an environment that required it to stay alert? What if this wasn't about thinking too much, but about feeling too much without protection? You don't overanalyze because you're bored. You overanalyze because uncertainty once felt dangerous, because emotions once felt overwhelming, because you learn to manage feelings by managing scenarios. So you stay one step ahead, or try to. You imagine the worst, so it won't shock you. You prepare for loss, so it won't break you. You expect disappointment, so it won't blindside you. But the cost is constant tension, constant mental noise, a sense that rest must be earned. And still, even after all that thinking, you rarely feel prepared, because the goal was never answers. It was safety, and safety isn't something thinking can create. That's why no amount of analysis ever feels like enough. That's why the loops don't resolve. That's why reassurance fades quickly. The fear isn't in the question, it's in the memory underneath it. A memory of not being held, not being understood, not being protected when you needed it. So your mind stepped in. It learned to stay awake so you wouldn't have to feel helpless again. And maybe no one ever told you this, but it makes sense. It makes sense that you're tired. It makes sense that your thoughts feel loud. It makes sense that letting go feels risky. You're not broken. You adapted. You adapted so well that now you don't know how to stop. And maybe hearing that brings relief. Or maybe it brings grief. Because it means something real happened. Something your body remembers even if your mind downplays it. You might feel a tightness right now, or a quiet sadness, or nothing at all. That's okay. This isn't about labeling yourself or diagnosing anything. It's about understanding why your mind does what it does, why it keeps watch, why it replays, why it never fully rests. It's been trying to keep you safe for a long time. And maybe tonight, instead of fighting it, you can just notice that, not fix it, not change it, just see it. See the effort, the vigilance, the exhaustion. See how much energy it took to survive the way you did. You don't need to push the thoughts away right now. You don't need to solve anything. Just let this land. That this wasn't a bad habit you failed to break. It was a response that once made sense. And maybe slowly that realization creates a little space. Not silence, just space. Enough space to breathe. Enough space to rest your shoulders. Enough space to stop blaming yourself for something that began as protection. You're still here. Still listening, still breathing. And for this moment, that's enough.